Mute, baby. Losers, finals. Kirk, doobsnax, Dubé, Josh, Zoinks, Hiebert.
What up?
Stray Dogs. We just watched them play. They looked pretty clean, and they're probably riding high and glad that they're getting to turn around and play again quite quickly.
Yeah, definitely on a hot streak in this bracket. It's going to be really exciting, but Freelo Hunters also just have only dropped one game this entire tournament and are now running it back. So two really strong contenders to see this top before this losers finals to see who gets to go fight against Bad Macro Flip Bird.
Who do you think is going to be the difference maker for Stray Dogs or for Sanji's team here, Freelo Hunters?
Well, both of these teams we've seen play the Zeraora and the Lucario, at least in a couple of games. I don't know if that's been their entire bracket run, but last we've seen, both of these teams have been doing so. So we may see a pretty electric game between these two with just a lot of dive and a lot of just intense player versus player battle that we could see. Maybe a little bit less focus on like beginning every fight in the Zapdos pit, beginning every fight right next to Dreadnought. It'll probably be some early dives trying to find those weaker players in the back line to eliminate them and give your team an early advantage. So if I'm going to make a prediction of anything for this game, I think it's just going to be a lot of KOs.
Absolutely, and we can finally see these two Zeraoras square off and see who has a big impact on the game, similar to what we saw earlier between Toon and Gosu when they're both playing Cinderaces. You know, the rest of the comps looked very similar. We can kind of have a similar situation here. So I'm excited to see how these Zeraoras shake out. I am not quite a Zeraora believer, but when you have two teams of this caliber with two players of this caliber, you know, I might be heading towards the Church of the Z. That's for sure.
Well, it's hard to deny it anymore now that they're in the losers finals of this tournament, right? This is a pretty prestigious tournament. A lot of really good players have showed up to play today, and if you're able to hang a Zeraora, it's going to be impressive.
Let me just tell you, I think we realized it at the same time. Bulby coming off of the Zeraora, switching to Talonflame here, and going to use that to create the difference. So let's look across these teams, both playing Mime, both playing Pikachu, both playing Lucario, both playing Eldegoss, and of course that difference is going to be Talonflame v Zeraora, and you have to think that Talonflame being able to dive the back line, and if they can get back out unscathed, that might be a difference maker here in this one. We are underway. Dalwi in the jungle.
Not for nothing, too. We have dropped off of the Venusaur and for Slashcan, and is now playing on the Pikachu role instead. Maybe just trying to favor a little bit of that poke damage. Says, hey, if you're going to come at me full speed, I want to have that poke damage to make sure you're at least a little bit softer by the time your dive gets to me. But if both teams are doing so, this is going to be a really interesting matchup.
Good pressure from Freelo Hunters and well countered by Stray Dogs as they are sent packing each direction here. And we see that score stays very tight as these folks go back and forth. Dalwi getting into the mix, and they're trying to bully on Sanji with Tars, and they're going to be able to take this KO if they can stay on top of them and not let them retreat. They do. Tars closing it down with the help of Dalwi. Dalwi I thought they were going to get some points in here, but deciding to get back into their jungle and maybe grab some of these free farm.
Yeah, nice read by Dalwi, going up out of jungle before they even hit level 5 to get that early strike on Sanji. They know how Sanji plays. They know he's going to be pushing to that goal zone immediately to try to steal those, just try to get that attack weight buff. And the damage that Dalwi can do is immense.
Dalwi in tandem with Tars, able to bully Bulby and also take down Sanji, and that was a bad look for the jungler on Freelo Hunters as they went in to essentially get decleated and sent on their way here. So now Stray Dogs are slowly trying to push that advantage, and they're trying to get it done here in the bottom lane as the top lane is taking care of business.
Yeah, that's true. And at the moment, Dalwi also doing a little bit of jungle invade. Going to try to take that advantage and remove that EXP outside of Freelo Hunters as best they can. If that Talonflame can't get 7, that means they don't get their Unite move. And
they get KO'd. Man. And that's even with Fire Truck from Freelo Hunters bailing out of lane to go try and help them. And they're not able to make a difference. Zeraora Dalwi takes that KO, and that could be an inflection point for this game, that it all starts slipping out of the hands of Freelo Hunters. Stray Dogs needs to keep that pressure on.
Oh man, and I can't stress this enough. The importance of that KO is not just because it's another KO to add to the board. It's the timing of the KO. That Talonflame still being at 6, and we're at 7 minutes 30 seconds is such a danger for Freelo hunters. They really need to get another level on their jungler if they're going to have any kind of threatening presence at Dreadnought.
That jungler is kind of stuck in the mix. They're going to the top lane, but both players up there, the Lucario and the Zeraora, are just have out-leveled it so far, and now the bottom lane is snowballing, and they're getting ready for Dreadnought here. The points disparity shrinking a little bit. Bulby taken to the skies. Tars in pursuit. Bulby forced to dash back. Gek getting in there. Wall, a concussive blast, picking up 2 there as Gek rolls down to Dreadnought. Orange team seems to be all over it, though, as Stray Dog staying away, and Bulby content on chipping into an Audino very intensely as Dalwi is working on the Rotom. That Dreadnought is just about at half HP. Sanji chipping in. Here we go. The Cinderace sitting on top, and despite being low levels, catches back up in a heartbeat by clutching out that Dreadnought for the Freelo hunters. And Stray Dogs do send that Rotom down the lane, and Dalwi is doing the best they can, but that goal zone is getting attacked mercilessly in the bottom lane. Dalwi left to their own devices in the top, and we've seen that point spread evaporate, and now just a 2-point difference.
Freelo hunters saying, early lead be damned, we fight. We always fight. And they did. They charged right in and were able to get a couple incredible KOs. I'm not sure if you saw the camera pan just before that Dreadnought fight kicked off, but Freelo hunters were all sub 50% HP. But despite that, they swing in, they take the Dreadnought, giving themselves a huge boost in shields, which allows them to push and break that bottom tier goal zone. Really impressive maneuver by Freelo hunters, and that maneuver, as good as it was, and as good as it is for morale, is only keeping them up to even in terms of this score distribution right now.
Dalwi, although level 10, getting caught with their pants down, and what does that mean? That Talonflame is also now level 10, and that level disparity between the junglers shrinking rapidly. Bloodline isolates Sanji, and now the chase is on to put a little pressure at them, saying, stay out of my goal zone. Now everybody needs to get back to their farm and get their mobs, get that experience that way, because there's going to be another contest over these objectives, and that's going to be the difference here. Bloodline first in line for that Corefish and taking it down, and both objectives taken almost on top of each other here. 23 seconds up top, 25 on the bottom, and Dalwi looking to maybe hide in the grass and put a little bit of pressure on Slashcan, who normally plays Venusaur, switches to Pikachu for this matchup. Gecko Kami pushing, and all of Freelo hunters are in the top lane. They don't care about Dreadnought this time around. They're flipping the script on their game plan, and Dalwi hiding in the grass. 5 seconds until that Rotom gets into the mix. We see a little bit of posturing, a little bit of bubbling out. Fire Truck with a Leaf Tornado. Pikachu throwing the bolts to the sky here as they're just moving back and forth, back and forth. Everybody's still standing for now, and we are just now hitting Talon. Oh, Unite move! Unite moves on both sides. Talonflame comes out of the sky here, and it's the Pikachu Slashcan that kicks the bucket first, and now Dalwi immediately jumps on Rotom as the Lucario is down, and they're saying that's our impetus here. Bulby, the jungler, goes down, but not after they put in some very solid work, and all of Stray Dogs is all over this Rotom. A Leaf Tornado by Fire Truck tries to clutch it out. It's too late, and they send it down the lane, heading towards that second tier goal zone, and you have the Lucario ushering it in here. Tars is escorting this Rotom a little bit, and 3 players on Freelo hunters is left to try and defend it as Spaghetti, the Pikachu, makes it back downstairs, and that is the own Lucario. Sanji trying to take care of this Dreadnought on their own. However, they are being out-personneled here 3-on-1.
Yeah, really impressive patience from that team fight up top. Shoutouts to me. The MVP of that team fight is going to be Bloodline, who's getting chased down right now. But he saw Bloodline. They saw Sanji walk right past them and move into their enemy backline. Did not flinch. Let Freelo hunters initiate the fight. Let them throw their Unite moves away right at the beginning, because Bloodline is going to Trick Room Unite move immediately after and set his team up for success. Really impressive play from Bloodline to just to be able to absorb the aggression out of Freelo and then return in fashion, get the Rotom with a really nice team fight. Level disparity is down for sure, but a big team fight like that can swing a game.
Freelo Hunters, as you mentioned, a little bit down on levels here, but we have 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock, and we are back to the farm. As you can see, all the high value Aeos energy totals on all these characters here. It's not going to take much to back cap to swing the flow of this game for sure. So it's going to be who can posture defense properly and who can push the right objectives win. And when I say objectives, I mean the goal zone, and I also mean Zapdos. Is there going to be time? Are they going to try and close out the top Rotom in the less than 10 seconds they have? I'm interested to see. That could pay big dividends for Stray Dogs if they can get it down.
Yeah, really low scoring game, all things considered in this game. It has been much more team fight focused than back cap early scoring focused. These teams very much taking a different strategy than the vast majority of teams that we see in these tournaments. But right now, look at this posturing. We have all 10 players up in this Zap pit ready to throw down.
One thing that's worth noticing, that Pikachu on purple team is a little low on HP. Tar's been hiding in the grass for quite a bit. Olive Orange moving as a unit. They might be able to make a little pincer move on them as Dalwi is luring out Bulby, and Iconic has chased them down for support. Gek getting shot by Bloodline there with the Confused Blast. And here we go. We've isolated Pikachu. They go down. Slashcan goes down. Gek with the Unite move, but they're kind of caught. Dalwi getting mowed down as well here. And that's a Unite move that saves Dalwi. And now they're under counter pressure on Gek. Gek is getting chased by Dalwi. That's going to close out the KO there. And now we have 3 down on the side of Freelo Hunters. Sanji getting picked off. Tar's firing a Unite move just to get that Buddy Barrier boost. Doesn't actually take down Sanji here, but the pressure is on and the pressure has completed. The Zapdos is clutched and Sanji making a back cap dash, but Spaghetti coming in. Hundo banger. We've got Dalwi up top, Hundo banger. And we're going to see who goes to the middle to get another Hundo banger in. Iconic sitting with no points, but they're sticking with the team here as Tars is able to get in a hundo, and now Bloodline slowly crawling their way back as there's still 50 seconds on the clock, and no points are showing on the side of Freelo Hunters, which means their totals are below 40.
50 seconds left on the clock for them to score about 350 points to make this an even game. Right now, yeah, like you said, not many points in the pockets of Freelo Hunters, but there is farm up on the map. You do not have time, but you do have a chance. And Freelo Hunters is going to try to push it as much as they can, but Stray Dogs has acknowledged this and is putting up an immaculate defense. Right now, scoring and the chance of victory seems almost impossible out of Freelo Hunters.
Yeah, we're in garbage time here. 10 seconds. They haven't made the push. They weren't really concerted and collected to do that. That's a Unite move just to be cheeky and be flashy. But Stray Dog's going to take this game 1 in a very impressive fashion against Freelo Hunters, who have looked good, honestly, all day long. The question here is, the switch from Talonflame to Zapdos, did that make the difference? But we're going to go out to the booth to figure out if that's such the case. Back at you, analysts and host.
Welcome back to the booth here. Great game 1 from those 2 players here. Very close match to the end there. They had very good coverage on the Zapdos. 7, what'd you think of that first game 1 match?
It was a little bit less even than I was anticipating. I expected this to be 100% neck and neck the whole way. And it was close. It was a really good game, but I felt like it was a little more one-sided than I was anticipating. So I'm expecting next game to have a little bit of adaptation and be a little bit closer.
Joe, over to you.
Well, I think, first of all, take a bow Bloodline. He had some really, really critical moments in there. Unite moving to save Dalwi, to then take KOs himself, and then just win that team fight out in those last few minutes. Critical moment. And it wasn't just that moment either. Tons of moments in the opening early stages and in some of those key team fights, he was critical. So, yeah, hats off to him. Really, really helping his team out in those later stages when it's oh so critical. But as Evan was saying, some big team fights was the focus there, scoring not so much on the agenda until, teams are getting thin on the ground, and then you can have those freedoms to go ahead and score when no one's going to defend them.
Yeah, once Zapdos was done, it was pretty much kind of just wrapped up from there, and then it kind of just had to defend the last 2 towers at that point. We're going to pass it back over to our commentators to bring over to you Game 2.
Game 2 action shortly underway. Josh, Zoinks, Hiebert, talk to me. What do we need to see out of this game? You know, I mentioned the Talonflame, the switch from Zero Aura to Talonflame. Was that a difference maker? Did that pay dividends? Is that something we're going to see again here in game 2?
Well, the Talonflame pick, while it does give more spike damage and a little bit better boss secure than the Zero Aura does, I think it took a little bit away out of Freelo Hunter's, I want to say their iconic style, but I know they haven't been a team for very long. But what I saw give them success was that with Sanji and the Zero Aura player just getting kind of being a damage duo, rotating around the map together, being a terrifying threat, and we just don't see that as much if it's a Lucario and a Talonflame. Talonflame, much more than Zero Aura, needs to get in and get out. Doesn't have the survivability as much as the Zero Aura does, or as much as the spiky turf. But yeah, I think honestly, that game, I think we're talking about a completely different result if Iconic and Bloodline didn't get down Mr. President as well as they did for Dobby. Like, that Pokemon was KO'd for sure, but immediately those two buddy barriers saved the day, and they were able to swing the game. It must have been at 5-6 health points near the end of that game. Incredibly close, like, really nail-biting situation. And that's why you run buddy barrier, kids. That's why you do it.
I mean, it looked great there. I'm going to just point out another, what I thought was the most important moment in that particular game. Maybe you can break that down for us. The jungle invade, KO on the Talonflame, or at that point in time, the Fletchinder, and it forced Fire Truck to roll up the Eldegoss to try to make the save as their jungler was getting mowed down. And I mean, the Zero Aura makes it out, and Dalwi makes it out unscathed, takes the KO on the opposing jungler, makes it out unscathed. That seemed like the biggest point of inflection to me in that game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And we're just setting ourselves up for an incredible second game. Looks like no changes coming out of Stray Dogs, and no changes. Oh, except one change. Bulby has now rotated onto the Greninja in the jungle role. I'm a big fan of this pick. I'm surprised we haven't seen it more in this tournament, to tell you the truth. I'm excited to see how much damage this Greninja can do.
Yeah, I mean, Bulby has kind of bounced between characters, so I'm excited to see, you know, we've seen Zero Aura, we've seen their Talonflame now, and now we're going to see Greninja. So I'm excited to see, again, exactly how it shakes out, and it tip the cap to them. You know, it's hard enough to be an expert on one Pokemon here, but to have your pockets so deep with options and really allowing your team to adjust when you do lose, it's got to be a nice feature that Freelo hunters really appreciate out of Bulby here. But yeah, we're seeing that normal 1-1-3 pressure, slash can, Okami, Fire Truck all together again.
Yeah, this trio is definitely one to look up to if you're trying to master some gameplay on the ladder. This 3 bot lane is really impressive. I think that, yes, the game definitely slid not in their favor, but I don't necessarily think it was from the early game. That was never the problem. What I'm actually excited to see is Sanji. He is still sticking to his trademark aggression for sure. Always putting pressure on the enemy Lucario, never letting them have anything for free. And Sanji is trying to score on his own. And this time, it looks like Dalby isn't going to be coming to attack them as much. On the other hand, Bulby, their jungler, has decided to pick a fight in the enemy jungle.
Absolutely. Fire Truck rolling up to help Sanji, the invade by the Frogadier. And we did see Zero Aura leave some jungle and actually peel up early and actually leave the 2 buffs, the Buffalant and the Ludicolo there, untouched. So Sanji working through here, Fire Truck and Bulby all there for the support, pushing on Tars very, very hard, dunking in their face as they're just going to try and take as much of this farm as possible, get as many cheap points in as possible. And while they believe that Gek and company can hold it down, Gek and Slash can hold it down in the bottom lane. And you see both Frogadier rolling down to try and meet up with Dalwi, who's invading their jungle.
Yeah, Bulby trying to get them out. Please stop Dalwi. And is trying to remove them from their jungle. And see if they and Fire Truck gets the Predict Leaf Tornado on the basing Dalwi. Absolute shutdown. And that's going to lead to a KO on Dalwi. Punished for that cheeky play. I actually respect the send back to base in bush, but the read coming out of the Eldegoss on Freelo, very impressive.
Yeah, that has made, if we're checking out the levels here, Dalwy not nearly as ahead as they were game one here because they got caught in the back lines. At just level 7, if we look across the board, the Frogadier is level 6, but everyone else is a little bit higher level across the board. So I'm interested to see how this shakes out. Gek level 7, which is very impressive for the Mr. Mime, and something that's going to pay very well for Gek is that is a very stout Pokemon, that Mr. Mime, and being able to bully pretty hard is going to be key to keep this bottom lane locked down for Freelo hunters.
That's true, but having to bully right now with a 2, almost 3 level disparity on the opposite Mr. Mime is going to be very tough. This bot lane has definitely been really hard for Freelo hunters this game. Stray Dogs has been putting on the pressure, and that is showing in that level disparity. Right now, if Freelo hunters can get this Dreadnought, that'll be a very good evening marker, but it's not going to be an easy take.
I mean, on the nose here, Freelo hunters do in fact take it. Sanji putting the team on his back, though, able to lock down that turtle, and now the team is trying to use the shields and the experience gain to push, and they're racking up some KOs on Tars, on the Pikachu that went down in the skirmish there, and they're just getting a bunch of ducats in, and that goal zone is officially broken, as that was a good little sesh for Freelo hunters. Get back in the game on levels, get back in the game on points, but not to be outdone. Stray Dogs closing out the top goal zone of their own.
Yeah, a trade of objectives, if you will. Rotom and Dreadnought going to the opposite teams, and the top and bottom tier goal zones going away from either team as well. But this is giving Dalwy the chance to be another cheeky player, but this time gets punished by Gek. This is not an Eldegoss with a Leaf Tornado. This is a Barrier Psychic Mr. Mime, and that is going to be a very punishing jungle invade. However, you did steal the buff, so that is going to mean that the jungler on the side of Freelo hunters is going to be at a slight disadvantage going forward into our next team fight.
Absolutely, and you have to notice again, things going a little differently here for Dalwy, our Zero Aura, but Freelo hunters not to be back down here. A little bit of Cotton Guard from Fire Truck as they're Leaf Tornadoing around and keeping Gek and Slash Can above their heads above water here. As now it's about the farm and waiting for the next objectives to get onto the map, and I'm interested to see how Freelo hunters and Stray Dogs approach these two. We saw Freelo hunters flip the script last time, go for Dreadnought first, straight to Rotom second, and now Sanji's dashing away here as Dreadnought is going to be up clean 20 seconds plus on the Rotom.
Yeah, Gek almost getting that score in, but just unfortunately getting blocked by Tars. Barely able to break that score shield. Actually forces out the Unite move out of Gek. Gek would love to have that Unite move back, but the aggression out of Stray Dogs forces it out for him to stay alive. So this Dreadnought fight is definitely giving the advantage to Freelo.
Yeah, and there you go. Mr. Mime jumping in with their own Unite move, but not for nothing. Sanji able to clutch it out yet again for this Freelo Hunters team. And you can kind of see why they're the Lucario. They're clearly the leader here. And he puts the pressure and the impetus in to make moves. Gek waiting on this Rotom, going to try and snipe somebody down with that barrier and that confuse. And is Dalwy going to be the victim, or is it Bloodline? Bloodline rides past, poaches out Gek. They're forced to scramble. Fire Truck comes in, and Dalwy has put a lot of work in that Rotom. And here we go. Gek gets in there. That's a Unite move by the Greninja here, but it was for nothing, as they are not, Bulby is not able to close it out. That Rotom is getting sent down the lane, but they're using this opportunity to pressure backwards and close out a goal zone of their own. Can they do it? They can. That's Sanji getting the 40 points in to close that thing out. And now they're working on Rotom as a unit. And Bulby, the Greninja, rolling back into the jungle to get some experience here as Fire Truck in company, getting the bees, getting the core fish, getting their levels up. And Sanji already back up to 20 Aeos energy, working their way down the lane. Bulby trying to protect that goal zone from getting closed out. And that is a fruitless endeavor as they are just hanging out and now nomming down core fish and Audino.
Yeah, nice team fight around Rotom. The objective goes away, but the team KOs still come. Yeah, Bulby being a very powerful Greninja player there. Unfortunately, doesn't get the secure, but the amount of damage and that leap that it gave the Greninja was a ton of pressure on the enemy team, making him easily able to clean up and get those KOs. Kind of the new way to play Greninja that we've seen a lot with those recent buffs is the smoke screen, water shuriken style of Greninja. It's definitely going to put out a lot of damage to a few different targets at once. This is going to make it a lot easier for these team fights. But yeah, Sanji, who else to initiate another team fight coming out of Freelo?
Absolutely. They jumped all over that Mr. Mime, and they're still keeping the pressure on. Nobody down yet, but they've certainly bubbled out Stray Dogs, the purple team, off this Dreadnought as it's being started. There's 4 of them there, and they're all hitting into it. Look at that. Stray Dogs completely abandons it. Season opening, and they're going to move back through their jungle here as they don't engage whatsoever. Bulby backing to base. Slash Can all the way at base. And now they're going to be able to get a little bit of farm and make it to Rotom well enough in time. It might be important for them to send it down. They're going to have about 6 seconds to close it out if that's an option they want. Pikachu, 4 Stray Dogs hanging around in the wings, waiting for that Rotom to come up. I'm interested to see if they'll engage it or not. Gek and Fire Truck posturing already to Zapdos.
Freelo being way ahead on levels and slightly ahead of points means that everything is set up for them. Now this is their game to lose or to win. They have all the advantages. Let's see if they can capitalize on those. That posturing is really impressive right now. Quite clumped up, but with a team comp like this, to be able to punish Stray Dogs, it's a really good spot. A nice little 1v1 from Sanji and Tars. Sanji's going to take this fight every day of the week. This is for clout. Let's get it, Sanji. And yeah, decides to back up.
Oh, Dalwi comes in for the assist here, and that might be able to close out Sanji. Now the chase is on. Tars with the power-up punch puts a lot of pressure on to Sanji and sends Sanji scrambling. No one's down yet, but they are on the verge. So is Tars. Here we go. Unite move into the middle, and we're watching these life bars just get eviscerated as Gek is on the border here. Finally, the Eldegoss goes down, and now we see another Unite move come through the middle. Fire Truck trying to keep their team up. Bloodline scrambling a little bit. Spaghetti sent down the lane. Slash Can putting the pressure on the opposing Pikachu. Fire Truck identifying that the orange team is in the middle. They're going to get back in there. A couple chips into Zapdos as all of purple team is working their way back in the middle. That's Dalwi, half HP, getting picked off by the Leaf Tornado. Fire Truck seeing they use a Cotton Guard. Bulby jumping back into the middle. Sanji eyeing it up, taking some core fish here. Freelo Hunters have no pressure on them to take Zapdos. They're just making sure it doesn't swing the other way. Sanji bubbling around, taking a look. Slash Can taking a look. Now everybody's on Zapdos, and they're starting to mow it down. They pulled it up, and the Pikachu goes down, and the pressure is on. That's the Mime down, and now they have two-player advantage here as that Zapdos has already been started by the orange team. Dalwi is on the edge. They come in, and they get mowed down too. That's 3 down. It's on the Eldegoss. It's on the Lucario, and no such luck today. Freelo Hunters balance it out, take the Zapdos, put the pressure on, get some points in, and win this game.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, the game, that is just the definition of the early game wins the game. At no point was Stray Dogs in the opportunity or chance to just push their advantage. They never had one advantage. Every single time they were stuck a little bit behind, and Freelo Hunters gave them nothing for free. They don't want to give them that comeback XP. Sanji is making sure he secures every Dreadnought, and they're even just letting those Rotoms in if they need to. No matter what, the level disparity between these two teams was what the main focus was.
Our game 3 is going to be on the horizon. We've seen some change of characters here. I thought Bulby's Greninja looked very clean that game. It looked very good. I think that was a positive change, and certainly ended up helping them win that game. Freelo Hunters that game did a much better job identifying Dalwi, obviously an incredibly strong player, adapting and kind of adjusting and saying, okay, if we can babysit and contain this Zeraora, we can landslide in other parts of this matchup. And they were able to do that, not letting it successfully jungle invade twice, getting 2 good KOs in it in the, far away from home was that Zeraora. And it was making it late to objectives. It was making it a little bit under leveled, and it wasn't able to just put that insane pressure that it did in game 1.
Yeah, the jungle invade was definitely a huge storyline going off in these first 2 games that we've seen of this best of 3. It's making sure that the enemy team that you're up against can never rest easy. They can't go into the bot or top lane just thinking that all of their stuff, all of their chickens will still be in the hen house. They are not there no longer because Sanji, Dalwi, Bulby, any of them are in your jungle stealing it from both sides. So, like I said, this game is definitely defined by aggression. These teams are not afraid of what the other team can do to poke or peel against them. They are pushing every single time. They can get that advantage, take out a Pokemon, and they're always calling their teammates, yo, gank top, gank bottom, and then the wonderful, iconic, or Bloodline or someone like that is able to come in and spike from bottom or top. It's a really impressive gameplay from both these teams.
Two things I want to mention. Bloodline, OmniJoe highlighted them. They had some amazing play in game 1, a little bit less of a factor in game 2. And I'd like to see them kind of get back to that standard that they set for us in game 1. The second thing I want to identify that I thought was very crucial to kind of prevent that big movement in the game trajectory that happened in game 1 was you noticed how early Fire Truck rotated. Not only to go help out Sanji in the top lane, but also what that do? That put them right in the pocket of their jungler to be able to support when that Dalwi telegraphed that jungle invade, and they were able to keep them up, just using synthesis, nothing crazy, but just enough HP to keep them standing and able to mow down that Zero Aura. So, kudos to Fire Truck on making that move. I don't know if it was a team call or what it was, but they were able to support Sanji successfully. So that, boost their team up there, not let the top lane slide. And of course, keep that jungle from getting overtaken by Dalwi, which is, Zero Aura is one of the strongest early game Pokemon available.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really interested too, now that you mentioned that about Fire Truck. The early lead in the bot lane in that second game was extreme for Freelo hunters. We were watching a lot more of the top lane because that's where a lot of those exciting pushes are. We have some really electric players up in that top lane in this game currently, so it's fun to spectate that too. But that bot lane was a pretty huge landslide for Freelo hunters early game. So they must have been taking a lot of those early camps and everything, and just making sure that all the EXP was going towards their team. I'm really interested to see if Stray Dogs can put up a little bit more of a fight in that bot lane, keep things a little bit even at least, so that a Dreadnought fight, this can be a fair, even matchup instead of being a little bit on the back foot. So I definitely think that if I'm Stray Dogs, I'm saying, all right, let's try to get at least one Dreadnought. Keep that focus on Rotom, but if we can last hit steal one of these, we are so much more in the game than we were this previous one.
Looks like we're going to have the game available here for us in just a moment, so we'll go down to that as soon as it is ready. But one more thing I want to highlight, Sanji, Freelo hunters, we said Stray Dogs, we want to bring some balance to those contestable objectives here. But those two Dreadnoughts, that was an ugly fight on both sides, and Sanji just knifed in and was able to take it. And in one case, out from under the nose of Stray Dogs, who was definitely pushing and had the advantage in that first Dreadnought for certain. And Sanji just came in and whoop, just go ahead and poached it. They were KO'd for that effort, but that's an exchange I think that Freelo hunters is going to take all day long.
Oh,
so
absolutely. Yeah, and Sanji has always been in that conversation for best Lucario. If not best, at the very least top 3, maybe 5. Is definitely a player that has made their name known on that character, and it's showcasing why. They're absolutely pushing every advantage, but a name that I haven't heard of as much, but is going to be Dalwi. I've been very impressed by Dalwi's gameplay this game. It's been just using Zero Aura in a way that I haven't seen it used before. Definitely showing me that this pick, not a troll pick, definitely can be a huge threat.
Yeah, that pick is paying dividends. Slash Can on Alolan Ninetales there. Another change up here for Freelo hunters. Despite the win, they're seeing we can have a little bit of advantage on the CC war here. And they make that switch. So I'm super excited to see how that shakes out. Stray Dogs, hopefully, I don't know if they were caught unawares at the character select screen here, but I think that's a tip of the cap to Dalwi, another way to isolate and contain that Pokemon.
Yeah, not only is Dalwi an incredible player, absolutely looking amazing in this Holoware drip for sure. And so I'm glad we get to see that a little bit too. But here we go. Iconic and Bloodline definitely making up the most of that front line with Spaghetti. Going to be just firing those electrical jolts from the back. Going to be a pretty textbook lineup for this 1-1-3 comp in terms of just how the strategy is played. You might see a different Pokemon than Pikachu in a lot of these games, whether it be a Venusaur or Sylveon, or who knows, in a future tournament, maybe we start seeing the Grassy Owl show up. But at this moment, I think it's going to be, we're looking like a pretty textbook match. I want to see if Freelo hunters can use this Ninetales to a high level. Can we CC the enemy team? Can we find a way to shut down Dalwi before he destroys our entire team? Thus far, looking a little tough.
Yeah, Sanji going down to Tars and Dalwi. Now they're pressuring Bolby very, very well, and this is going to be another KO here. I can't imagine they let Bolby escape from this one. Fire Truck shows up, but not an Eldegoss this time around, and now they get chewed up. KO streak of 2 with Dalwi, and Dalwi not too happy how that game 2 went. Going to try and do a little bit of work on their own, as they're going to try and dart out and not let Sanji do too much to them, and they're going to try to grab some bees on the way out, and Tars putting a lot of good pressure on. Spaghetti there, the Pikachu, iconic Eldegoss, they're doing work alongside Bloodline, and I'm taking a look. That's a Gossifleur still for Freelo Hunters.
Yeah. Another case where Stray Dogs are, well, and not another case, Stray Dogs is definitely getting a lot more pressure here in the bot lane. The levels aren't incredibly different, except for where you mentioned we got a Gossifleur on one side and an Eldegoss on the other. We still have over a minute until Dreadnought, so this isn't catastrophic, but it definitely is going to set the tone for this early fight. I'm excited to see if Freelo Hunters can find a way to circumvent this disadvantage they have. Can Alolan Ninetales get a nice freeze? Can we get a good CC? Can we knock Iconic or Spaghetti out of position? These are all the types of things that Freelo Hunters are going to be trying to find. And with Sanji and Bulby on the enemy team, this is a good chance for them to make this happen.
Absolutely. Tars working in, as there's quite a few players from Freelo Hunters in that top lane here. Dalwi and the Lucario there left to their own devices, Tars, and they're going to wait a little bit till this Rotom comes in. Bolby putting the pressure, already a Greninja, throwing a couple shurikens in there as Dalwi is watching for these bees, and are they going to jump in and get a discharge going? Not quite yet. No, they are not. Dalwi getting jumped there by Sanji and mowed down by Bolby here. And now Tars is sent scrambling, as that is a bunch of players for Freelo Hunters getting points in. 10 until that gets closed out. The Alolan Ninetales has been KO'd in the bottom lane here. Iconic putting some pressure on Gek bubbling them out. Spaghetti, of course, with Bloodline going to work through, going to try and grab this Aldino on the other side of the board, and Dreadnought is here, but nobody has started it. Of course, I say that Bloodline decides to kick it off. Gek, Okami, not late to the game here. They're just trying to posture a little bit as Orange is finally starting to pull up. There's Sanji getting walled out. Interested to see how they're going to be able to do that. No power-up punch there, as Bolby is the one, Bolby takes a KO, but it's Tars that takes the Dreadnought for Stray Dogs, so they are able, despite down on points, able to get that experience buff, get those things, take 2 KOs there, and rein in the points into that bottom goal zone, shutting it down very systematically. A good look there for Stray Dogs, and now in the lead by 3.
Yeah, Stray Dogs takes the lead. Not an enormous one, but definitely one that's finally showcasing the level differential that these Pokemon are having on both sides. It is immense right now. Stray Dogs have that huge level advantage. You can see on the bottom side of your screen if you're watching along. But right now, the only shutout for Freelo is they have Bulby on a very impressive level 10 Greninja. I want to see if Bulby can get a huge engage with that gigantic water shuriken. If that can happen, then this really could be a change of game. But Dalwi decides that he wants to 1v3.
Oh, absolutely. Dalwi going in with Tars in the pocket, and they're able to take a clean KO on Sanji here as Dalwi is working their way back to the jungle, and poor Sanji still level 8 compared to their opposing Lucario Tars, which is sitting at a much more bolstered level 10 here. Bloodline just scampering around level 9, nothing to scoff at, as everybody across the board from the bottom lane is still level 8 for Freelo Hunters. That's going to be an issue moving forward, Zoinks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Iconic just hitting that level 9, getting that Unite move online is going to be much more of a threat. The sustain is going to be immense on Stray Dog's side. Call it what you will. It could be a get out of jail free card. If Dalwi decides to overstep, gets it a little too deep, we can see another huge save. But Dalwi, when they decide to jump in and go deep, it actually usually means they're scoring a goal zone. And that means that Rotom, if they do secure it, is going to be going all the way to that tier 2. So Rotom seems to be going in the side of Stray Dogs, not contested by Freelo, but what Freelo has decided to do is set up at Dreadnought, and hopefully they can spike it themselves.
Yeah, they send Gek to defend this goal zone a little bit as they rely the rest of the team to take down that Dreadnought, and Rotom is sent down the lane, and that's going to be tough sledding here for Gek. They use a Unite move. They try and do the pressure on, and whole team's rolling in now, baby. Let's go. That's Unite move, and that Zeraora goes down, and that opens the gap here here as the Pikachu bites the dust, and Bloodline's getting picked on by Sanji, and they're coming in through. Bulby's there for the support, and they're going to close it out on Bloodline as well. And that's 3 KOs there for that push, that second tier goal zone, and they're scoring in the bottom a little bit, but they really, really caught their receipt for pushing that, trying to push that Rotom in, and Gek buying just enough time for Freelo Hunters to get the whole team back there and take 3 KOs.
Immaculate play from Freelo. Not only did they get the Dreadnought, evening up this game in terms of levels, not quite, but pushing them ever closer, they immediately rotate. They say, no, don't score on that tier 1 goal zone. Our place is needed elsewhere. They all base and leap back immediately and win a landslide team fight. Freelo is such huge brain for that play. Stray Dogs definitely thought they had a free run to go and score with Rotom, but that was shut down immediately by Sanji and company. Incredible work from Freelo.
Oh, it looked great, and it must have felt great for that squad as they are still behind on the scoreboard, but they closed that level gap there as we're kind of in the farming phase of this game, and I can't see too many folks engaging here as Slashcan, the Alolan Ninetales, was picked off earlier, and they're just rolling up, trying to get into the face of the Eldegoss, and finally just retreating a little bit. Iconic, not wanting to chase that any further than they have to. Rotom, 13 seconds, Dreadnought, 18 seconds. We're going to see where these teams decide to go. Iconic rolls down to the goal zone, maybe thinking they need to play a little bit of defense. Dalwy and Spaghetti ready to jump all over that Rotom with that pressure here.
Yeah, Dalwy with a pocket full of 49 and a level 13 is going to be an immense threat here. Ooh, nice barrier coming out of the Mr. Mime on Freelo Hunter's side, just to make sure that the team fight is engaged on Freelo Hunter's pace and not on Stray Dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. Freelo Hunters, however, going right after this Rotom, and they're mowing it down, and they do, in fact, take it, which is counter to the plan that Stray Dogs have. Zapdos here in 7 seconds. Stray Dogs up by about 90 and some change here. So we're going to work through as Stray Dogs is going to put some pressure on. And, Bloodline being half HP with Zapdos here, not great. I'd like to see them go back and join into the fight clean as Gek is able to blast them here. That's a Unite move onto the Zeraora, taking out the Bloodline, who we've seen be such a clutch player in this Zapdos. Dalwy scampering. They're going to try and go for the straight back cap. Don't even care here as the power-up punch from Tars takes Bulby takes it with Freelo Hunters here, and now everybody's sent scrambling. Then Zeraora has to get those points in the hard way, but these points are cascading in for Freelo Hunters as they're able to take Stray Dogs and bend them back over and say, not today, we're putting the pressure back on you. And it's 640 to 397 here for Freelo Hunters, and all it took was Bulby switching to Greninja, and they put some weight in behind those water shurikens in those Unite moves and used them at immaculate times to seal up Game 2 and also seal up Game 3 here, as now it's going to have to be a concerted effort from Stray Dogs to push to these goal zones.
Oh, man, Freelo Hunter's saying, yep, Flipbird is the play, and they call it and they take it. Stray Dogs definitely went for an early initiation in that team fight, which I really like with that team composition that they're running. It just didn't quite work out. Left Bloodline a little too low on HP to do really anything of note in that fight, and was eliminated out of that. Was eliminated by Balwy's Water Shuriken maneuver. So. Really
Gek in the grass with Unite move, trying to cut off the comeback here as they are able to take out Sanji and make that push. They still get the goal zone, and now they're pushing hard to the middle. Bloodline coming in on the back of Spaghetti and Iconic. Dalwy in the mix, and they're going to be able to come in with a discharge. 8 seconds left. They're going to have to get a lot of points in here in 6 seconds if they want to pay the difference. Dalwy just darting out, darting back in. KO Streak of 2, KO Streak of 3, KO Streak of 3 for the Slash Can, and they're able to button this one up. Freelo Hunters, if there was a time to step up on defense, Slash Can said, put it on me, though, and they're able to close it out. But holy smokes, Josh, that is a game that I keep looking at Bulby, and I'm saying, where was this Greninja all day?
Yeah, Bulby definitely made the proper switch and took it all the way to the house. Incredible gameplay there, and like I said, I really am gonna put all the onus on that final team fight. A huge Unite move coming out of them, and just really impressive play. I think that's where I'm gonna put it there. But I want to hear a more detailed breakdown of this 2-1 win out of Freelo Hunters. Let's send it over the desk and hear what they have to say.